The first track that I picked out is Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. It's one of the first, if not the first CD I remember owning, or actually, to be honest, my sister owned it, and that was also the gateway of me to listen to music. I remember I would just listen to all the music that my older sister bought and owned, and Demon Days, the album in which this song was pretty much the first analog copy of a CD I remember having in my hands. I'm pretty sure she bought it at MediaMarkt or something. And I remember the simplicity of the beat, the odd vocals, the kind of annoyed or tired vocals on the song. Yeah, I remember just thinking it was so fresh and original, and also, to be honest, I must have been like 7 or 8 years old, so I just listened to whatever my sister was listening to, and I think most of the songs I picked out today were actually picked out by my sister in one way or another.
The first track I chose is Everyone Knows by NERD. And that track actually had a huge impact on me. I can't really understate how much of an influence NERD and especially Pharrell have been throughout my life and throughout like my musical career, I would say. My very first concert that I ever went to was a Linkin Park concert. I think I was about 13 years old. And NERD was actually one of the support groups, which is crazy to think about, that Pharrell Williams was the support group for someone else. And they played that song live, and I think it was actually before it came out, so I had no idea what it was. Back then it was like maybe 2007 or 8, maybe something like this. You also couldn't really look it up. And then about half a year later, I think I heard it on either MTV or Viva, which is a German music television station. And yeah, when I heard it, I had such a I was back at this concert, and I remembered the energy that this track had when I was like 12 or 13 years old, listening to NERD live. And yeah, I really can't overstate how much of an impact that song had on me, and how big of an influence Pharrell and NERD are to me. Still to this day also still holds up. I never really loses its originality, and great song.
The second song I picked is Bad Kingdom by Moderat, but the DJ Kotze remix. Yeah, it's probably one of the most memorable songs from my coming of age and going to clubs in Berlin. I remember hearing this one. There was a certain time where it was almost played, or it felt like one of DJ Kotze's remixes were played at every good set, I remember, and it just feels like it was like a staple of Berlin or of German club music. The original is already so great, but I feel like the DJ Kotze remix just has that, I don't know, it's just like the super versatile club version. I love all the other remixes also. It was hard to pick one out of this. I think it's the Reincarnations Part 2. I think he probably made so many different remixes, but this one is just the standout track. This weird, almost animal sounding noise in the beginning that he resampled, kind of like a driving, melancholic, euphoric, but definitely more sad than happy, if anything, the vibes of the song. And definitely there was a time in my life where I thought this was the biggest club track there is, and that might have been from a Berlin or German perspective, but this really felt like the song. This felt like the #1 song to play at the club.
The next track I chose is Snøy or Snøy by Stanley Schmidt. This track kind of is a representation of a lot more tracks from that time, but I chose this one especially because it was kind of like a very important time for me clubbing-wise, I'd say. I think it was the time where I started to kind of get more involved in the club scene in Berlin, getting to know people who were throwing parties, getting to know people who were DJing and kind of broadening my horizon when it comes to electronic music. And I think that song came out in 2014. And back then, most of the music I listened to was very like almost standard techno and a bit of like very classic house, which obviously is amazing, but because of that, my horizon was very like narrow, and I felt like everything was kind of put into boxes, and everything had to have like a certain energy or a certain tone to it for me to kind of be happy with it. And I think this song, and also a couple more songs, but especially this song, kind of showed me that club music doesn't have to be maybe as serious as I thought it had to be, because that song like has a very kind of nostalgic and almost like maybe even sad vibe to it, but at the same time it's very beautiful. It has a very beautiful melody, and when you hear it in the club, it kind of throws you off a little bit because it's so like calming in a way. But that's what I love about it, and it kind of showed me that club music doesn't have to be a certain way. It can be anything you want it to be, as long as it kind of like catches the vibe that you want to catch. And yeah, that's why I chose that song. It means a lot to me still to this day.
The third song I picked is Promiscuous by Nelly Furtado and Timbaland. This one is a bit more on the R&B, less clubby side. I always loved this song. I loved all of Timbaland's productions. Definitely a big influence also, although obviously it's a bit of a different approach and genre, but there's so many insanely good Timbaland beats. He just has that groove, that I don't know, very special rhythm to the song. And Nelly Furtado was just my when I was a little kid, again, music that I listened to through my sister. Yeah, this was just the radio hit. Everyone knew this song. Yeah, and just a great staple of the Timbaland production with the probably most iconic pop top line there is. I feel like Nelly Furtado is probably one of the greatest of all time, and paired with Timbaland, yeah, can't add much to it. It doesn't get better than this.
The last song that I chose is Magical Body by Los Angeles TF. That song is also a kind of a representation of a lot of songs, and that is the genre Italo Disco. I think this is the genre that had probably the biggest impact on me out of all the electronic genres there are. Before Leo and I started doing DJ Heartstring, I was actually a Italo Disco DJ. And yeah, that genre really impacted me so much, and especially this song. It's like a perfect representation of this genre. Sometimes people tend to think that Italo Disco is a very one-dimensional genre, and in a way I also agree. It is very like, once you get it, you know what you're gonna get. But I love that about it. It has a beautiful energy, it's very happy, it gets people going, it has vocals which people enjoy. And in a way I think that the Italo Disco influence is also very present in the sound that me and Leo are making today. I think kind of we used to say that DJ Heartstring in a way is fast Italo Disco with techno drums or house drums, which I like. And yeah, Italo Disco is probably to this day still my favorite genre to listen to in a club.